Hello and welcome to another video. Today I'll be unboxing this. This is a bit of an unusual thing to unbox. It's a Japanese console. It's called the Cassette Vision. It's one of the earliest consoles released in Japan and uses interchangeable cartridges, which for this console are referred to as cassettes, hence the name. So I'll be unboxing this and having a look at it. So here on the side I've got some tape made to cut. I'll be cutting straight through the bubble wrap, because the tape likes to stick to bubble wrap and it's very difficult to actually undo. There's the side of the box. Okay, so it looks like a sort of a cling film is holding the cartridges down. I'll have to remove the whole thing so I can get those out first. And I'll just probably cut this, and maybe it'll be a bit easier if I cartridge that first, because they do have some thickness to them. So here's the first cartridge. They're a bit bigger than I was thinking, because they're definitely larger than a standard cassette tape. Here's a Nintendo DS for scale. It's almost the exact same volume. Didn't have a cassette tape on hand just to compare it to, but since it's almost the size of a DS, you can imagine that it is a lot larger than a normal cassette tape. It's a bit thicker than the DS as well. They cut the other cartridges. Here's another one. So the first one is Battle Vader, which I think they had a home console that was just dedicated to that game. It was like a plug-and-play console that they released prior to this. This one's called Big Sports 12. I think it was called the TV Vader. I think that was the name of the console that Epoch released, who is the manufacturer of the Cassette Vision. The last game's coming out. It's Galaxian. This looks very primitive compared to most other versions of Galaxian you're probably used to. Looks like it is upside down. Here's a few different games on the front cover. Looks like it's got Battle Vader cartridge, and that's one of the games included. It's a bit stuck, but here we go. Here's one of the cartridges open. And as you can see, they are quite large cartridges, same size as the case. That looks pretty much the same as it does on the cover. Here's the pins. So as you can see, there's a few missing pins where there aren't any connections. And it appears to just use a normal Phillips head screw, so nothing proprietary like they do on Nintendo cartridges. It's good that these actually do come in hard plastic cases, because unlike Famicom games which normally came in cardboard boxes and got thrown away, same as the NES games and Game Boy games, these ones have like something solid to actually protect them in the long term. It's also interesting to see that with the Cassette Vision they did keep the same style of cover that cassette tapes have, the case with sort of inline graphics and like a little sheet that goes around them. So looking inside, here's the console. Looks like whoever owned this previously wrote some stuff on there. So here's the system. We've got a manual telling you how to plug it in. So as you can see, you had to plug into an RF box, so it was an early console. So there's no composite out on it. It's just going to make it very difficult to actually use, because I need an RF demodulator to get into an actual usable signal. And given that I'm not in the NTSC region, none that would be available here would actually work with this. So it would either have to be an American one that supports cable television channels, was it 95, 96 for 1 and 2? I believe this does either use channel 1 or 2 from Japan, which corresponds with 95, 96 in America, or a Japanese one. Here's a little setup, so you can plug in a TV aerial and this both to your television. So put some cables in here. And this is the power brick. Big box, little RF box. switch box, so you can connect this into your aerial as well as the console, so you can put both onto the TV. Not sure what this is for. Thought it was a bit of a double-sided tape, so this must have been stuck to something at one point. One thing to know is it's a decently solid metal box. It's rusted a bit, but it's pretty chunky. There's a little bit of weight to it. And as you can see, it does use an RCA jack just for the video. It's pretty tight on there. I think just from being on there for a decade at this point, it's going a bit stuck. That's not going to come up easily. In case you're wondering, to connect to the actual television, we'd actually have to screw these forks little aerial spots in the back, and these just come off the RF switch. Looks like there's a little faceplate that did go in front of the RF switch as well. As you can see, so you either got 75 ohms or 300 ohms, and based on what your equipment was, you'd have attached it to either these leads or these leads when you're attaching it to your actual aerial. With the console, got a nice little dust cover over the slot. There it is. We've got these sort of paddles, which are the controllers built into the system. Then you just go around. So almost 360. They're not very loose, so if you're doing it a lot, it might be a bit annoying, but just for little games to move things around, it seems good. So here on the front, we've got a power LED, or at least some light. Power on and off. That's not very easy to move. We've got select, auxiliary, and start. We've got a connector, which uses sort of, I forget what they're called, but they're larger connectors, similar to what you use for audio stuff. Not headphone jack, but the larger one. And that could be used for things like the light gun, so you could play light gun games on it. We've got course, which allows you to presumably select from a series of courses, got a few different steps in there. We've got level 1, I'm not sure what that's for. We've got push 1, push 2, push 3, push 4, and level 2. I'm sure for different games these probably different things, and that would be explained in the actual game itself, and that's why it is sort of generically labeled for different buttons. As you can see, it says Epoch TV game, Cassette Vision. I'm going to try taking this out and have a look at the actual console. Although I'm going to plug it in. So there's the video out. Just plugged in, just connected straight into it. That's not removable, and that currently is connected just through the RCA jack. There's where the power goes in. There's a few little marks on there, but otherwise seems pretty good condition. On the back, looks like this is a selector for either channel 1 or channel 2. So if you had something on that channel already that you wanted to watch, you could still keep that on. There's these little channel 1, channel 2, and this channel 1, channel 2. Again, it's just Phillips head screws on the back. I might in the future I consider taking this apart just to have a look inside. We've got some more scratch marks, so what look almost burn marks. Not sure if this maybe it's from the cables, and they've sort of somehow damaged it over time. I put that up there, because it looks like there's something under here as well. I'll get this out. So there's a few things under here. Okay, so that's it. So it looks like some sort of form to fill out. It's probably a warranty card. There's the back of it. Next one just tells you how to set up to your switch box. Here's the cables, so 300 ohm and 75 ohm. So it just explains how to set it up. So VHF is very high frequency. There's also ultra high frequency. Let's open this up. There's just a diagram of how to set the whole thing up. Here's the back. This looks like a bit of a... I'm not sure exactly, is it an order form of some kind? Might be instructions for one of the games. So I'll leave those just under there so they're easy to access in the future. I'll just put the console on the top. One thing to point out, the console isn't very heavy at all. Actually, most of its weight just comes from the plastic. To look at the games, we'll try seeing how they sort of slot in. Let's open up Battle Vader again. We can see how it slots in. So it does require a small amount of force to put in, and it's not too difficult to remove. You can definitely do that one-handed, although you need to jiggle it a bit. So I think we can try taking open the cartridges and have a look at that. So I've got a screwdriver. Put that in. There we go, that one's coming undone quite well. The second one. Okay, that's good as well. Third one. As you can probably see through the back cover, they're sort of vented. You can see quite a few different components in there. Hopefully that's all undone enough. And something interesting to point out is that unlike a normal cartridge that would normally have just a ROM cartridge, such as a Famicom game, this system actually puts a whole CPU on the actual cartridge itself, so the actual game is being run off the cartridge. Put the information, so it says Epoch there, that's the manufacturer, as I assume is the pins numbered, and then this also tells us what the game is, I'm assuming. Let's flip the board over. And on the back it's nothing there really. You can just see it's all where the service pack components have been added on. So it's quite interesting to see how basic this is. However, it does look like that capacitor just on the top has gone bad. As you can see, there's some white powder coming out of it. I'm assuming that's burst at some point and is leaked. There's also a bit of a trail of white onto the CPU as well. So that might not work anymore. That's a bit interesting, so I'll seal this back up. I just lifted up the box and this was stuck to the bottom of it. It appears to be some sort of rubber tip of something. So I don't know if this is maybe a cover for a switch or something. It's fallen off. Looks a bit squashed. Looks like something definitely could have gone in there at some point. So I just wanted to add this to the end just to make this as complete as possible. So it looks like just a little rubber tip or something, I'm not sure. Definitely not going to go back to its shape, it's definitely deformed permanently. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like the video, comment down below any thoughts you have or suggestions for future videos, and subscribe so you don't miss any future videos like this.